Kansas City. All right. Dan will be happy.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Hey, we're back live here, the W Show from Kansas City. We're live here in L.A., sunny L.A., broadcasting right here live on Radio Row. When we tell you guys, we always have some great guests. We have two more for you. Right here, we have Joe Mantegna and also Ronnie Marmo. Now, Joe is co-producing, and Ronnie is co-producing as well. You're starring also, and I'm not a comedian. I'm Lenny Bruce. Now, guys, first of all, thank you. For coming on with us.
Thanks for having
us. Talk about this one-man stage play.
Well, it's a one-man show. I don't know if you guys know who Lenny Bruce was, but he died in the 60s, and he was a comedian who fought free speech all the way to Supreme Court, and he lost. If you like Richard Pryor, if you like Murphy, all the way down to Chappelle. Chappelle's a modern-day Lenny Bruce. He was the first guy to break the barriers and do the thing. And this was in the 60s. And so I wrote the play. I'm playing Lenny.
Yeah.
Joe directed it. And yeah, we just think it's important. Sadly, this country is in big trouble.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Worse than ever, I think. In some ways, we've progressed. In other ways, we've regressed. I mean, I feel like we're back in the 50s again.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely.
And then you put cancel culture on top of that. Forget it.
Right.
I mean, it's just a whole nother world. You know?
Of course.
And so we're trying to bring this back to the forefront. You know.
Yeah. Talk about the chemistry between you two. I mean, even with you being a writer and then coming on, and you said you were co-producing, correct?
Well, I'm in the sense that, you know, we're Ronnie, I directed it, you know.
Directed, that's right. Directed.
And Ronnie came to me with his material. We had a background, and I had done a little part in a film he had written, and then I did some directing in a play for a theater company he had. So when he came to me with this material and says, "I want to do this play. Would you be interested in directing it?" And I saw. And I use the saying, well, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. Let's see what you got.
I like that. I like that.
And when he did it for me, I felt, okay, it's on the page. You got it. You did a good job. I like this material. Now, together, let's shape it. Let's change it. Maybe move some stuff around. Play with it. See what we can come up with. And ultimately, what we came up with was a play that's now been running for 5 years on and off in Chicago, New York, L.A., still running in Chicago. We're about to take it out on tour. Hopefully, we'll get to Kansas City at some point.
Yeah, that's the hope.
And it's been very successful. He's done over 350 performances.
Wow!
And it's done what we hoped it would do. In other words, it makes you laugh, makes you think, makes you kind of. The best response we get is, and I've even got this from my own daughter when she saw it. She says, "All I wanted to do was go home and get on the computer and go Google Lenny Bruce.
Yeah,
figure out who he was.
And I had to.
And if you can do that, then you've succeeded."
Yeah.
You know, Dick Gregory, the great comedian Dick Gregory.
Yeah.
Well, Dick Gregory loved Lenny, and he said when he saw Lenny perform, he said Lenny Bruce is the eighth wonder of the world, and if they don't kill him or lock him up, he's going to shake up the country.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
and Christian Gregory, Dick's son, and I have become good pals, and so
he's one of our biggest supporters.
Yeah,
really?
The Gregory family, which is like, you know, they're Chicago royalty, but also, you know, he became a big advocate for free speech, and you know.
Yeah, and I hear you keep leaning on the free speech side of his performance. Was there anything in particular that really pushed you to even start writing this, even taking this project on? Was it something just about him, maybe that he said, or maybe just a certain action, or even a certain stand-up? What was that stuck out?
You know, as an actor, it's like if you get to do something that really, really settles in your bones in a certain way, and it means something to other people, that's really rare.
Definitely.
Normally, you know, when you have a face like mine, you say, Vinny, put him in the trunk, or you say, Sarge, phone call. You know, right? Cops and robbers. That's, you know, and I'm not making fun. It's a great career.
No,
so
definitely.
to get to, you know, I'm not usually the Hollywood stereotype for like a Jewish hipster from the 60s. Let's hire Ronnie Marmo. No, it doesn't work like that. I had to create this project for myself.
Definitely.
Because I want to work out of the box. So when I found Lenny, I really loved what he stood for, and I appreciated it, and I identified personally with many of his joys, his demons, his loves. I mean, all of it. And so it was just a great fit. It was like a perfect storm. And then I brought it to this guy who I admire and look up to so much, and thought, well, if Joe would direct it and help me shape it. And then I knew it would be important, but I didn't understand that people people see the play 12 times.
Yeah.
Total strangers. They keep coming back and back because Lenny's fighting for the thing that we seem to, we don't really have a grip on right now. And that's, the ability to have different taste than someone else and it be okay.
Of course.
And
You
speaking of taste in someone else, who is somebody that's your favorite, or you look up to, or you try to model yourself after being an actor?
An actor? There's this guy. He's a little shaky in showbiz. Joe Mantegna. Have you heard of him? He's got a shot. I think he's got a shot. He's my. Are you kidding me? He's my biggest mentor by far. But it's like I look up to people besides Joe who just want to tell good stories and try to do good work. And that's really it. I mean, I grew up loving the Pacinos. I mean, I'm Italian American, so Pacino and De Niro is the reason I was like, I think I can do that.
Yeah.
But that's how I met Joe. I wrote this movie and I was like, I got to get Joe Mantegna to be in my movie. And I wrote a letter to a PO box and he answered it a few days later.
Oh, really?
Read the script and did my movie and we've been pals. Like 17 years ago.
Can you talk about that, Joe? I mean, when you got the letter, was it like a thing where you said, "Oh, wow, he really looks at me like that"?
Yeah, no, I mean, my feeling is it's all about the material and stuff like that. I don't care where it comes from. I've had a saying all my life, and has been some things I do for the bucks, some things I do for the yucks. When somebody sends something to my post office box, I realize, okay, this is going to be for the yucks.
I didn't go to his agent. That's for sure.
I didn't get a phone call with a check.
Right.
I just got to say, hey, would you like to be in my movie? Type of thing. So, but that's okay. It's like, I use that example of like, if you probably went to an athlete being in this surroundings and asked them, what's your most favorite time experience of playing football? My guess is 99% of the time, it won't be the time they either won the Super Bowl or when they were a pro. They might say, when I was playing Pee Wee football, or when I was in high school, or when I did it for my college. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what it's about. It's the love of doing that thing that you love doing, and it's not about a payday. You know what I mean? It's got to be that because you did it because you wanted to do it.
That's so funny.
It satisfied that passion, and that's what it's about.
Once money's completely involved and that's all you're doing it for, it loses some of the magic of what got you into it in the first place.
No, it
I agree.
definitely
And I
does.
feel blessed to have made a career at it, and got that's wonderful to be able to say, yeah, being able to take care of my family, playing pretend for a living. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But bottom line, that doesn't mean that doing it at that level was the best time I've had in my life.
And even playing pretend, switching over to Criminal Minds. I know a few of these are unfamiliar. I'm definitely a big fan, especially of Agent Rossi. So that's definitely one of my jams. But even looking at how Criminal Minds was, and you being was it FBI agent?
Yes,
That was FBI. Did you all have to do a lot of training leading up to that? Especially, handling weapons.
Yeah, you do. I think, I think it's important because we were portraying a real organization.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're doing, like, say, Star Wars, and you're saying, well, how would a guy from outer space and, in the future react or do things? You could pretty much, it's wide open. You use your imagination. But there really is a behavioral analysis unit of the FBI.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I made a point to go there, and I've been there numerous times to Quantico, and to actually go there and meet them. And I have friends who are members of that real organization.
Definitely.
So because one thing you don't want to do is when you portray it, you don't want those people who have that job in real life to look at it and go, oh, no.
It's got to be some level of authenticity.
Some level of authenticity. It's still a television show. We still expand upon it. But at the end of the day, that's why when people ask me, doesn't it bother you? Aren't you creeped out doing that show? And I always say, no. I said, because when you see that scene, that guy's laying on the floor with an arrow in his head, they go cut. That guy goes,
he gets right back up.
He goes to craft service and has a sandwich. I said, go talk to the FBI guy that really saw that happen.
Right.
And every day, this is what they do for a living.
Yeah.
I said, I have too much respect for those guys and those women to say, oh, yeah, man, that creeps me out to do this job.
Yeah.
No, out of respect for them, it doesn't creep me out at all. I have incredible respect for them, and I do it as an homage to them.
Yeah.
Try to do it as straight up and down as I can.
Joe, do you ever get this? Because I was a detective on General Hospital for years, and
Uh,
people would come up to me and ask me for like legal advice.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm an actor. I don't even know what I'm saying.
No,
I don't even know what I'm
definitely.
talking about.
And so,
Like, all the time, I'm like, you're asking me advice.
Yeah, but then they should ask
I'm still ducking
know,
a couple of
I've been
court
Fat Tony
dates.
for 32 years. Nobody's asking me how to whack a guy.
right? No, definitely. And even preparing for this role with Lenny, like what type of preparation? Because I mean, him doing stand up in a one man show, like what type of preparation? Not even just mentally, but like physically. You know, even with his mannerisms or however it goes. Like what?
Yeah.
I'm sure that may have taken you months and years on end.
Well, people ask me, how long did I rehearse the show? And I say, since I came out of my mother. I mean, I don't even know how to answer that. I've been in
Yeah.
rehearsal my whole life.
yeah,
I just bring the kitchen sink. Yeah. When did I learn the lines? That's a different discussion.
yeah,
But like in terms of like, it is it's a 90-minute monologue. It's a
Yeah.
one-man show.
yeah.
There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I start to play dead naked on the toilet. I'm not kidding. So I really have nowhere to go. It's like, here it is, guys. This is what I got. Right.
Yeah.
And so when you start like that, it's really a demanding role. It's physical. It's funny. Stand-up is something I've always been fascinated with and always thought, well, like Joe just said about FBI, I have the same respect for stand-up. I don't call myself a stand-up
Right.
because I think you have to be miserable for years and sleep on people's couches to be a
Yes.
stand-up.
You got to pay your dues.
Yeah, I'm a little
You
too.
gotta pay
I
your
got a
dues.
little too together for that.
Yeah.
But I've always had a fascination when I thought, well, maybe I could do stand-up because I have the timing of a stand-up, and people think I'm a comic because when they see the show, I got the material down, but I have too much respect to act like I'm a stand-up, you know.
Mm.
But it's been, you have to be in a certain shape. I sat home for 18 months in the pandemic,
Really?
and the first time I
Yeah.
got back on stage, I started having like mini panic attacks. It's a 90-minute monologue. It's very demanding, physical, really emotional, really funny, really heartbreaking. So I had to build back up to that for sure, kind
Yeah.
of like an athlete. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting. So
But now, as you're doing, and Joe, you can probably answer this as well. Is it the people that come up to you and say, "Hey, we love the show"? How do you kind of gauge on people how they receive it?
yeah, I mean, for me, it's like what's cool about this particular show is normally in a play, you play over their heads, but this show, I'm talking to the audience the whole show.
Okay.
So I'm with them. We're in the same room together. I see on their face what they're experiencing, and then when they come back over and over, I go, okay, this must be touching a nerve.
Yeah.
Also, I offer a Q&A after most shows. I say,
Okay.
and I say no obligation, but if you want to stay, nobody leaves, and they just want to talk about it. So it's really, film is beautiful, but in this particular situation, it's immediate. I completely in that moment have
And
the
word of
experience.
mouth is very important, in theater.
Of
And
course,
so,
exactly.
and you got people leaving telling other people you should go see this,
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
realize you're still running and you're still selling tickets. Then you think maybe you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Now, last year was my first year on Radio Row, and walking into the room, I was a little bit intimidated, shaken up. Had to go to the bathroom and regroup a little bit and be like, "You got this. You know, you're here for a reason."
That's right.
So for you guys, both of you, walking in or whenever those cameras come on, what's kind of a thing that you tell yourself, or like a regroup moment that gets you calmed down and ready to be on camera?
Well, it's funny you asked that because I can give you an example. I've already mentioned it a couple of times. I remember when I did the movie Godfather 3. I was there, I'm in Rome, Italy. I'm getting ready to shoot my first scene, and I'm thinking, wow, those first two movies were big and
Yeah.
huge,
Right.
considered
Right.
two of the greatest movies of all time.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, and I'm the bad guy. I'm the lead bad guy now. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, well, okay, they're about to say action, and I'm thinking, what's Francis Coppola about to say action? And then I'm realizing I got to start yelling at Al Pacino as Michael Corleone.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm just getting a little of the little flutter
jitters,
going.
yeah.
But then I've been doing this since high school.
Yeah.
I said, I've been doing it for a long time. Where did I want to get to? This is where I wanted to get to.
Hmm.
So what am I going to do? I'm going to put on the spurs, jump on the horse, and let's
Yeah,
ride.
ride it out,
You
yeah.
know,
Right.
and that's all you got to
Right.
do. You got to say to yourself, where did you want to get to, and why are you here? You're here because this is where you want it to be. So that means you can do it. Now you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. I mean, I feel like, I've been playing with house money for a long time.
Mm.
I never wanted to do anything else.
There we go.
And so,
Love it.
not that I don't get nervous, because I do, but I turn that into excitement. It doesn't cripple me. In fact, it does the opposite. And I think, like, if not me, then who? I look around, I go, that guy's nervous. He's nervous. Everybody's nervous.
Yeah.
He wants this as bad as I do, but let me just go do my thing and see where where it falls. So I'm always a little nervous, but I think I turn it into like
That's good.
excitement.
A little degree of
Good
nervousness
energy.
is
Good
good.
energy.
Yeah,
Turn it
it's
into
like-
good energy. You're
Yeah, I
like,
want to be
you know,
great. And when I audition for things, when I go in things, my mentality is always like, this is opening night. I found an audience. I have an audience to perform for today because I'm a performer, even if it's 3 people. I do way better with 300 people than 3 people. It's really weird. I'd much rather be in front of a huge crowd than like
Right.
3 people.
Definitely.
But I always think like I found my audience for the day. This is what I do. This is what I love. Let me just show them what I got.
I like
You
that.
know,
Fellas, we really appreciate it. Now, where can people catch the show? How can they find out more information?
if you go on LennyBruceOnStage.com
Mhm.
or if you hit up Instagram or Facebook, just I am Lenny Bruce on those. And you could follow us. And, you know, we're going to be touring around. We open West Palm next week.
Okay.
And back in
Yeah.
Chicago then off to Tampa. And hopefully we'll be in Kansas City.
Yeah,
Yes.
we need
That's
that
what-
show.
That's
up
what
there.
That's right.
honestly you probably do. Everybody
Yeah.
needs to see it right now. So
Definitely.
when you guys come to Kansas City, we got some Gates barbecue for you.
Yes.
guys.
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
All right.
Yeah,
thank you, fellas.
ready.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. We'll be right back here. This the W Show live from Radio Row.